Here we go. Number 2. How long ago was the last one? Why did I think that making videos would be faster? Recap. I'm going through the Odin project. I'm playing games to practice. I'm going to play as many as possible. This time around, I'm trying to practice Git and get used to the workflow, starting off with Learn Git Branching and Oh My Git, and ending with git-game and Profy's github-minesweeper. On a side note, Twilio Quest also covers Git, at least that's what I read, but I'm going to cover that game as its own separate thing if I ever get around to it. So everything here except for Twilio Quest are more like tutorials and challenges rather than a full-fledged game in my opinion, but we'll gloss over that. They're games. Number 1, Learn Git Branching. Learn Git Branching is, according to its GitHub README, a Git repository visualizer, sandbox, and a series of educational tutorials and challenges. Its primary purpose is to help developers understand Git through the power of visualization. The repo is owned by Peter Cottle, but there are like hundreds of people who worked on it. It's interactive, it's thorough, and it's accessible. There is nothing to download and install. It's just a website, so lazy dum-dums like me can just click and start learning. On top of that, it's been translated into like a dozen different languages. So yeah, the most accessible out of the 4 covered today. Although there is a way to navigate the website without using their command line interface, it's hidden in the corner of the site. I didn't find this feature the first time around, so those who are new to using the command line may feel a little lost on how to continue after finishing or getting stuck in the middle of a module. While it teaches how Git works, it doesn't actually allow you to build the intuition of the workflow. But I think the straightforward, bare-bones, simplified graphical lessons / modules prepared me and developing enough understanding to tackle later programs in this list with confidence. For example, the next game, Oh My Git, uses the full hexadecimal commit IDs. Meanwhile, Learn Git Branching simplifies the commit ID. Oh My Git gets around the problem with its GUI, but it could still potentially be overwhelming to a person. Number 2, Oh My Git. Oh My Git is similar to Learn Git Branching, that it visualizes the effects of Git commands, but unlike Learn Git Branching, the creators Bleeptrack and Blinry packaged it as a game rather than just an educational tool. Oh My Git started off okay, introducing its custom design playing card interface and framing Git as time travel. I find navigating between the levels easier on Oh My Git. I tried not to use the playing cards just so I could practice working through the command line, but I did use it like a cheat sheet of sorts. Disappointingly, at higher levels, the game stops making use of its mechanics. The cards aren't useful at higher levels, and the time travel angle is kind of dropped. I think the more disappointing aspect at higher levels is that it was less of a challenge compared to the earlier levels where some problem solving was required. At higher levels, I was simply following the instructions, typing in the new command lines without quite understanding what it is doing and what it is for. It tried to make the barrier of entry easier with its GUI to use the Git commands, but on the other hand, Let Git Branching is an easy to access website, so I don't know. This is something to note when playing Oh My Git. The itch.io download page said that the Windows version is slow for some reason. So I decided to play the Linux version on a virtual machine. Strangely, when I ran it, this was printed in the terminal. I checked in with my computer majored brother, and he confirmed it as a memory leak problem, but he says it should be fine. The worst thing that could happen is things slowing down until restart. Number 3, Git game. Git game is, according to its README, a terminal game designed to test your knowledge of Git commands. There are a total of 10 levels, and there are 4 contributors listed. It's a Git repository. You play it in the terminal utilizing Git. I definitely appreciated having leveled up my Git fluency from the previous 2 programs. I am glad to have gone through the visual graphical modules of Learn Git Branching and Oh My Git before tackling Git Game. Otherwise, I would have been more anxious than I was. This one was tougher than the first 2 featured in this video. I had to Google a whole bunch. I cheated a little by looking through the branches on GitHub, but I think I actually learned a bit more since I was using the actual terminal. Other than the Odin project content, this was the closest I've gotten to using Git in the actual terminal. Most of the difficulties I had was from just not knowing about a whole lot of basic stuff, like while loop problem, like merge, conflict resolution, how to quit out of Nano. Yeah, this repo hasn't been updated in 8 years. At one point you could earn a badge from completing this, but I doubt that it's still the case. The links are broken. There was a sequel called Git Game V2, but I couldn't get past level 1, so I kind of quit. Overall, I like the challenge of Git Game, but I don't think it is suitable for learning or practicing, especially for someone who just started learning Git and programming. This is very confusing. Number 4, Profy's Github-minesweeper. Profy is a React development job simulator created by Johannes Ketman. Most of the content is behind a paywall, but the first part that teaches Git and GitHub workflow is free. After going through the content teaching about version control, GitHub, and professional workflow, including the reviewing process, the program forces you to repeat and practice the steps through Minesweeper. The game is Minesweeper, the interface is the terminal in GitHub. What would normally be a series of clicks in the game is a process of pulling code, creating a whole new branch, editing, committing, pushing, and requesting review. It's tedious, but it's effective practice. Final thoughts. Given the choice to revisit these programs again, I would revisit Learn Git Branching and Profy's Git and GitHub section. First, learn what version control and Git are, learn how Git works, move on to Learn Git Branching, then move on to Profy. I still don't know what I'm doing, but I'm not scared to use Git anymore, and that's the point. Hopefully I'll be back soon with a video summarizing my experience playing HTML and CSS themed games. Sources are in the descriptions, as are the links to recordings of me fumbling through these programs. Okay, bye.